to other dogs. So definitely for themselves, but in general, if something is uncomfortable or they see that another dog is uncomfortable, especially if you have one of those really hyper, actually Pimmy, perfect, she's so excited when she meets other dogs and she just wants to play and bounce all over them. But she actually communicates really well, and if a dog is unsure of this energy that's bounding towards them, she'll stop and show a few calming signals to help that dog calm down, and they're like, oh, okay, so you're not gonna actually jump on me or be invasive, or you mean well, and then they kind of move on from there. So these calming signals are things that we can do for our dogs. If you have a dog that is nervous of cars passing by, or doesn't like fireworks, or anything that kind of makes them nervous, kids sometimes, the sound of kids screaming just sends them into a whole other world of fear. You can use these calming signals and they will respond to you, and it's really amazing to see how that works. Oh boy, right. He is left out. So some of the calming signals that you'll see is just a quick look away or a turn away. Again, if that dog starts running over, you're going to see a dog try to calm himself, and rather than looking at the dog coming, they do this. Look away, look back, look. And so they're giving that dog immediately really quick calming signals. I'm not okay with this. I need to calm myself, and I need you to bring that energy down. If they turn away completely, it's very intentional. I can't see it, it's not happening kind of thing, right? So they're going to calm themselves that way, and then usually the other dog will start doing the same thing back to them. Another thing they'll do is a low paw lift. So there are two types of lifts that a dog will do. Ryder, come. Please. Thank you. We're going to use your foot. So if they lift their paw where it's just bent and their toes are still touching the ground, so it kind of just looks like that, that's more of a calming signal. By shifting their weight and not planting their feet down, it's yes. Good boy. When they have all 4 feet planted on the ground, their weight is distributed evenly, and that is not necessarily dominant, but it means that they're quite grounded. By lifting one foot just a little bit, it takes a little bit of that pressure off. So it's really no different than my body language. If somebody approaches me and I'm like, I don't like that, but if I'm standing like this, it's pretty chill. And so a dog is going to do the same thing. Nope, I mean no harm, that one little foot lifted up. Very different from a dog that lifts his foot all the way up. That's I'm about to pounce on you. That's a warning signal, back off. So if you also think that this low lift is that calming signal, and that when they raise it higher is now a warning, for the dog that doesn't want a dog to approach them in that manner, they lift it gently saying, this is making me nervous, please don't do that, you're doing it. Now I'm mad. And so that it's kind of goes from asking nicely to telling you off. Another one is lip licking. We see our dogs licking their lips all the time. Obviously, if they've eaten something delicious, sniffed something delicious, or your hands as well. But licking is a calming signal for sure for all dogs, and definitely a sign of appeasement. And you're going to really start noticing it quite a lot when you start looking for it now. So obviously, again, not all dogs exhibit the same things. I mean, if you have a drooly dog, they're going to be licking the drool off their face all the time. But if a dog was nervous, they'd be sitting there, and it's really like a slow, and they're going to do it while they're doing a quick look away or staring at absolutely nothing. So they usually combine quite a few different calming signals. That is something that we can do for our dogs when they're nervous. So if your dog is nervous of fireworks and you sit down with them, you can sit there and start licking your lips. And then another thing a dog will do is yawn. So not sleepy yawn, but just a random. And it's more intense. So they've already gone a little bit beyond that nervous state, and they really need to release any kind of tension. So you can take those deep breaths, fake yawns, lick your lips. It'll really calm your dog down. You'll probably see it a lot too if a dog is being a little bit invasive. You know, those dogs that come and they sniff, and a dog's like, please don't sniff me, and they're like, oh, but I'm going to sniff everything, and my nose is not going to leave you. And then you see the dog that's just like, this huge yawn. It's a calming signal to, A, please go away, and I need to calm myself. We do it as well. A huge sigh of relief brings our cortisol levels down. We can relax a little bit better when we let out that big thing. I mean, even in yoga, what's the first thing they tell you? Deep breath in, then just let it out. So dogs and a lot of other animals, horses do the same thing to calm and appease. Sniffing. If you've ever noticed your dog sniffing something for absolutely no reason, especially a spot that has no scent, like a cement floor for no reason, it's a calming signal. You're going to want to look, what is making them nervous right now? Or is, if you guys are having an argument at home, or the kids are going through something, and you see your dog yawning and sniffing the side of a wall in their own home, so there's no scent, it's because there's a lot happening and they're getting quite nervous. So again, they're calming themselves, or they could be inadvertently trying to calm everybody else, just take that mood down a little bit. A body shake, so your dogs do it when they get out of water, you're giving them a bath or they've gone swimming. But you'll see them also do a whole shake, literally from head to tail. And again, it's like, we do it too. You're like, ugh, you see a spider, you shake it off kind of thing. So dogs will do the same thing. Slow movement. So it's very slow and intentional. We see this all the time too. If, I'm going to just use the same thing, a dog approaching another dog. Let's say that one isn't approaching with high energy and happy excitement, but it's approaching with a little bit of aggression. So it's coming in, very dominant, leaning over. The dog that wants that one to know there's absolutely nothing to worry about, you have no reason to attack me, is going to move very slow. And we see it not just all the time with dogs, but even in cartoons. It's something that the dog sits there and is like, I'm just going to slowly move this way. And because if they move fast, they're telling the other dog that there is a reason to be aggressive, fearful, or whatever's causing them to act that way. So slow movement. Again, we do it too. Like if you were out in the woods and a bear is there ready to attack you, you're not, you shouldn't run. You're gonna move very slow. And so dogs will do the same. Sitting, laying down, and standing still. Sitting, and this is going a little bit into training. Does anyone know why we tell our dogs to sit? Why is that the #1 command that everyone wants their dog to do? It's kind of silly when you think of it. You're like, why do we tell our dog to sit? What is that? What did we get out of it? Sit. What does the dog get out of it? Sitting is the very first sign of appeasement and submission. So a dog cannot jump at the same time as sitting. They can't run across the street at the same time as sitting. They generally don't bark while they're sitting. So it's that first little sign of submission. If a dog is unsure of something, they'll sit. If you need your dog to calm down, you tell them to sit. So you ever seen the person walking with a dog who has leash aggression? They're lunging. What's the first thing you say? Sit. You can't lunge. You can't bounce around if you're sitting. So a dog will naturally sit. We actually all saw Ryder do it when he came here to you. He came close. He wanted affection. You were paying attention to me. I'm going to sit. There's a nice calming, I'm going to lure you to touch me. I'm going to sit and look really sweet. The ears go back, the eyes soften. Those are all signals saying, touch me, love me. Let's both get in this calming mode. Clearly, lying down is the next sign of either submission or being calm. If a dog will lie down in front of another dog or a group of people, he's 100% in a calm state. Especially if they flop over on their side. He's exposing all of his vital organs, so he trusts everyone right now. And that is also why dogs, when you see them flop over on their back and do this, you're like, oh, he's cute. And sometimes they even pee themselves because they're really nervous. But they're showing that other dog, I mean, no harm. Look, you have full advantage to all of my organs, and that makes me nervous. I'm going to pee a bit, but I'm still going to be right here. So they're constantly communicating every little thing that they do. Standing still is another thing that they'll do, which again is kind of like us. You see a wasp coming at you, flailing and moving isn't going to do anything. We stay perfectly still. Please leave us alone. They'll do the same thing. You'll also see them do it, and again, this is kind of that where I said they go from yes, no, maybe, do it again, no, don't do it. That stand still, they do it when they're hunting. So stand perfectly still, calming signal, everything around me, energy levels down, now I can pounce. So it's that yes, no kind of moment. Everything has a reason before they do it. If your dog is ever in a state of fear or confusion or even just a new environment in general, and you don't think that they're fearful, but you've walked into a place where you're like, oh gosh, there's kids screaming, we're near a pool, people are throwing things, just give your dog a whole bunch of calming signals. So do the deep breaths and the yawns, lick your lips, move slow with your dog, have them sit so that they can reset and get into that calm mode. Sit with your dog for a minute. Long, slow pats on the back. If you start hugging and loving and squishing, oh, it's okay, don't worry, those kids are screaming. Your dog's gonna be like, that's nervous, I'm nervous. So they pick up on what we're doing. The more calming signals you give them, the better. Ryder, when other dogs are in need of calming, whether it's because they're nervous or they're just too heightened, he actually has this very confident, slow strut. If they're playing too hard, and that could go, they're playing here in the corner, and he just walks by them, licks his lip a few times, looks really cool, and they feel it, they stop, they're like, oh, okay, we should calm down too.
Wow.
If they don't listen, his calming signal very quickly goes to a warning signal, if he wants them to calm down for that reason. If they're nervous, he'll flop down right next to a dog. He'll lay right next to them so that they can calm down and not feel as nervous. He licks his lips profusely when he meets a dog. I mean, he comes to a lot of training clients with me, and dogs that are fearful of other dogs will generally be more afraid of a big alpha when they meet him. And that's why I bring him, because immediately they're on guard and he lays from far away. He won't look at them at all. He's breathing very long, deep breaths for them, licking his lips, moving slow. The second they give him a calming signal, he'll stand up. If they go back to a stress signal, he lays back down.
Wow.
When they show a calming signal and they lick their lips back, he says, okay, I'm going to come a little closer and I'm going to lay here. And so it's really amazing to watch that communication. Again, it's within seconds. So those stress signals, if a dog is giving you a lot of calming signals and you are not paying attention, or another dog is not paying attention, that starts to get into stress signals. So stress signals, one of the first things that a dog will do is chuffing, and that is cheek puffing. And we actually, I think horses probably do it more obviously, but dogs will do this, their cheeks are just going out like that. And so it's heavy breathing, but that sound, the lips moving, is telling anyone around them that they're in a state of stress. And again, when you see stress signals, give your dog calming signals, and start to notice that other dogs will do it to them too. It's actually really funny when dogs do it to cats, because they don't get it. You're wasting your time.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Will we get notes after this, or I'm just
Yeah,
thinking,
I
I
can
can
email.
remember all this?
I can email you
Okay.
everything
Yeah,
after.
well, that would be great, because I'm
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
you're smart.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I think I have everyone's email, so yes, I can email you a nice long list. Another stress signal, wide eyes and dilated pupils. So unless you get your face right up in front of a dog, you're not going to see their pupils, and I wouldn't recommend checking when they're in a state of stress. But you can see wide eyes where you see the white right around them. Sweaty paws, again, you don't notice that unless you have a particular color of floor where you can see where their feet have left it. But dogs only sweat from their paws. They can't sweat from anywhere else. And so, no different than us. We sweat when our bodies are under any kind of stress. Pinned ears. So we see this a lot where dogs' ears go flat back. Very different from a dog that's very happy when you come home and his ears are just melting to the back and he's looking at you so lovingly. Versus pinned back, that'll come with the wide eyes and a tight mouth because they're in a state of stress. Tucked tail, we all know that one, of course. Facial tension. It's hard to see on a doodle or a fluffy dog. Even Pimmy, actually, she's got a mustache, but you can see the facial tension. You can see her facial tension. This guy you can for sure. So everything gets pulled back. If you have a dog with short hair, you'll see the crinkles happening at the top of their head, and then everything kind of pulls, or their face right here, mouth gets pulled back a bit. Again, the lip licking, it's usually faster as opposed to trying to calm, so they'll lick quite a bit. Trembling, that's breed specific. I used to have an Italian Greyhound, they shake all day. Chihuahuas, that's what they do. So know your dog, if it's normal for them to be trembling or not. Drooling and foaming, again, breed specific, some dogs do that 24/7. If he started drooling, I would know that there's something very wrong. And so when we talk about stress signals, you also have to consider a medical issue. Their body is under some sort of stress. So if a dog has a sliver on his toe, or a serious injury, or a stomach ailment, all these stress signals are things you're going to see, and you want to go to the vet if you know that it's not an actual stressful situation.
Can drooling be just like dripping? Like sometimes they'll
Yeah, absolutely.
drip.
Yeah, and so